The truth of the matter is that the disagreement that exists between the four leaders predates any debate about devolution. It's much deeper than that. The other truth is that we are falling behind. We're falling behind other parts of the country who've been much better at getting their act together and drawing down money and powers to use to support their local economies and people who live there. I don't think this is about mediation. What it's about is leadership. It's about electing a mayor who's got the credibility and the clout to work closely with the four leaders of the local authorities and demonstrate to them that it is in our shared interest to reach an agreement, a good agreement amongst ourselves that we can take to national government and get on with the business of drawing down money and powers. I go back to the point I made in my opening remarks. Who do you trust to do that? Who do you think has got the credibility? Who's got the clout to get the leaders around the table? If I'm elected as your mayor 2 weeks today, on the Tuesday, when the mayor takes office, I will meet with all four of the leaders, and later that week I will meet with Sajid Javid, and we will plot a course that moves us forward in South Yorkshire, moves us forward in terms of actually drawing down the maximum amount of money and the maximum amount of powers. And I'll be very clear about what I do with those money, that money and those powers. I published my manifesto yesterday. It's called A Cooperative Community, and the essence of it is bringing those four leaders together, and I believe that I'm best placed to do that. I think it's completely unacceptable in 2018 that anybody should be homeless. We've seen a 169% rise in lost sleeping, a staggering 250% rise in the number of people living in bed and breakfast accommodation since 2010. That's simply acceptable. Yesterday, I visited a fantastic Sheffield-based charity called Roundabout. Roundabout do incredible work specifically to support younger people who are homeless. I've been very clear in my manifesto that there are a number of things that I will do. So primarily, I said that I will establish a Sheffield City Region homelessness network to develop the work that takes place across the local authorities. This is something that I've discussed with Andy Burnham. I think there are some really good examples in other local authority areas of work that is taking place to reduce lost sleeping. I'll be looking at work that takes place in other parts of the country and looking to replicate it here. Also, though, it's a very important role for national government. And I think collectively, we need to make the case to national government that greater levels of resource need to be invested in preventing this problem. And because I've been very clear about the fact that although currently there isn't a mayoral salary, if there is subsequently to be a mayoral salary, I will not take that salary and I will dedicate a proportion of the mayor's salary into what I'm calling a community fund, and a specific part of that fund will be to support homeless people in the Sheffield City Region. We're not as well served as we should be when it comes to public transport in South Yorkshire. That's partly because we haven't got the working agreement between the local authorities, and I think there are some things that I want to do in terms of the South Yorkshire Passenger Transport Executive. But there are also very important national issues. So we get only a tenth of the infrastructure spend coming into South Yorkshire as more affluent parts of the country such as London and South East get. So we need a mayor who can argue for that greater investment from national government. If I'm the mayor, I will sit on the Transport for the North board, and I will make that case. I'll use Parliament as well. But in terms of the specifics of your question, actually I think we need a long-term transport infrastructure plan. And as the mayor, I'll use regulatory powers and eventually franchising to improve our bus services, particularly to the kind of communities such as the one that you live in Thurston. I'll also look to introduce special concessionary fares for young people, for students, for apprentices, and for adults making their way to work, and for adults who are taking children to school. I also like the point about the integrated ticketing system. So this is partly about national infrastructure spend that comes into South Yorkshire, but it's also about what we can do amongst ourselves, working collaboratively with the South Yorkshire Passenger Transport Executive and the four local authorities. I'm committed in my manifesto to working with Welcome to Yorkshire to develop our brand and think about how we project it around the world. And I think actually that provides a very exciting opportunity, because the reality is that we tend here in South Yorkshire to focus on the challenges. I'm actually very positive and very proud of South Yorkshire. I think it is a great place to live, it's a great place to invest, it's a great place to bring up your family. But all of us collectively have a responsibility to go out and be ambassadors. And I think that I can do that very effectively, internally within South Yorkshire, but also externally as well. A couple of other points I just made very quickly. We are about to put forward, we as in Sheffield City Council are about to put a bid to bring the national headquarters of Channel 4 here to South Yorkshire. I think that provides a fantastic opportunity that I hope everybody could get behind in bringing a major national creative and digital organisation to our region, and the potential benefits of that are huge. I've also committed myself to say that if I'm the Mayor, I will put forward a city region of culture bid. And if you look around the country, look at the way in which culture and the creative economy has transformed other towns and cities. And I think we've got a really strong, vibrant, bold cultural and creative offer. And we need to draw that together, and we need to market it to the world. And I'll be committed to doing that. Equality will be embedded throughout my mayoralty. I've been very clear, said in my manifesto, that I will appoint a woman deputy. I will work with businesses across the city region to address the gender pay gap. It's completely unacceptable that there should even be a gender pay gap. I've done a lot of work nationally trying to persuade the government to take real, meaningful measures to close it down. And I think there are real opportunities for the new Mayor to show a lead in terms of their own staff and the people that they employ. And I would expect the new Mayor to publish the Sheffield City Region gender gap in the near future. But it is about leadership, it is about example, it is about making clear that in 21st century Britain, it's completely unacceptable that anybody within the workforce, or without the workforce for that matter, should be treated differently because of citizenship. What I will do is support and lead the very good work that's already taken place. So I'm leaving here this morning to go and visit the University College Rotherham, which is currently under construction. I'm going from there to meet apprentices in manufacturing business in Doncaster. There's a lot of good work that's taking place, but the reality is there is a skills gap between what we have and what we need. And what I'll also do is very much stand against the notion that you refer to, that somehow an academic route in life is better than a vocational one. The MP for Barnsley Central, I've never believed that, and I'll stand against that notion. Specifically, I'll work with employers, with educators, with the Regional Schools Commissioner to develop a plan which addresses the workforce skills gap that we have here in the region. And I'll also lead my own post-16 education review into how we can make sure that we address that skills gap that undoubtedly we've got. I'll also make sure, when we do reach that consensus amongst the four leaders about the devolution deal, that included within it is the early integrated employment support programme, because we're currently missing out on £5 million of national government funding that we could be investing here in our economy, helping to reskill people and get them back into the workplace. So that's specifically what I will do.